Today I'm watching the Twilight Zone Season 2, Episode 4. The previous episode was about this Jackie character who was very nervous in this $4 a night hotel room, and his boss George was trying to get him to commit this crime that he wasn't willing to do, and we have this whole conversation with this other version of himself in the mirror. So a really interesting episode. This episode we know is about machines. Rod Serling mentions this typewriter and a few other electronics, that are monsters. So I'm very curious to see where we're going to go with that. I'm really enjoying the series so far. So thank you so much for sharing in this first time watching with me. If you have any other suggestions for TV shows you think I should watch, please comment below. And if you want to have a say in what movies or TV shows I watch, be sure to join Patreon. And as always, please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel, and check back often for more awesome content.
Boundaries are that of imagination. That's the signpost up ahead. Your next stop, the Twilight Zone.
Signpost up ahead. Oh my gosh. It's a fancy car indeed. It feels like Cruella de Vil's gonna step out of this. Seems like a very fancy man in his fancy house.
3 times the worth of the blasted thing.
Last time I was over here, you'd kick your foot through the screen, remember?
He's like, well, that's why it was broken, obviously.
Why didn't you just horsewhip it, Mr. Finchley? That'd show it who's boss.
Yeah.
That TV set doesn't work because obviously you got in back of it and yanked out a lot of wires and I don't know what else.
Yeah, is the TV acting up because he's messing with it?
Radio. Because you threw it downstairs.
That did not...
Does not seem to enjoy electronics. Keeps throwing him off the stairs.
Aside from being a rather incompetent clod, you're a very unreceptive man.
Well, this is going very well. Yeah, I'm curious if they actually aren't working or if he's just making it worse.
You, my good friend, will fill one entire chapter entitled The Most Forgettable Person I Ever Met.
If he gets a whole chapter in his book, he can't be that forgettable. Yeah, it's like something going on. I'm getting very much like as soon as...
It just so happens that every machine in this house is...
Is it you or is it them? Is it all the machines that aren't working, or are you throwing them off the stairs? He does not seem like a character that would have patience when things don't work. And obviously was very rude to the repairman as well.
Stop!
Oh, now they're just messing with you. I'm definitely feeling the machines are going to come to life. That's kind of my prediction. Yeah, and he's just smashing it with a hammer.
Page 48. A practicing sophisticate who writes very special and very precious things for gourmet magazines and the like.
Oh, my.
Devotees and adherents to the cause of tart sophistry. He has no interest save whatever current annoyances he can put his mind to.
That's so cool on the TV set. Yes.
Miss Rogers.
They're snapping. Oh, this guy sucks.
Declaration of Independence with a feather quill. And it took him only half a day.
Why don't you hire Mr. Jefferson?
Yeah, no kidding. This guy's got some crazy
Did I
expectations.
ever tell you with what degree of distaste I view insubordination?
You distaste everything.
You get yourself another girl. One with 3 arms and with roughly the same sensitivity as an alligator.
Yes. Yes, I love it. I'm sure he loves this.
Mr. Bartlett Finchley. You've even got me talking like you.
Miss Rogers, please.
Yeah, I'm sure this is probably the 15th secretary he's had. Yeah, well, he treats them like crap. Why would she stay?
Oh, I don't mean for work or anything. All that can wait. I was just thinking that we could have dinner or something. A theater, perhaps?
Is he asking her out now?
Sweet Mr. Finchley, thank you. But no, thank you. Goodbye, Mr. Finchley.
Goodbye.
I'd like very much not to be alone for a while.
Well, then don't treat people like garbage. Oh my gosh, he does it to himself. He acts like he's better than everybody. Craps all over them because they're not as smart as he is.
Go on.
That television machine in there. It goes on late at night and wakes me up. Just goes on all by itself.
Oh, poltergeist, you got ghosts?
The steering wheel turned in my hand. It twisted itself in my hand. The car deliberately hit the side of the garage.
Oh my god, your car's Christine. It's taken over. Yeah, the machines are coming to life. They got a mind of their own.
Is that for as long as I have lived, I have never been able to operate machines.
Okay, so this isn't new. Okay, very interesting.
Whose whole purpose is to destroy me. Now, what do you think of that, Miss Rogers?
I think you're terribly ill and you need medical attention. Due to lack of sleep, and that way down deep you yourself realize that these are nothing more than delusions.
Yeah, that's interesting. How, like, people would be struggling with, like, the change and, you know, the addition of new machines.
This mortal combat between you and the appliances. I hope you lose.
Yeah, man versus machine. Well, enjoy being alone with your machines that hate you, sir, because you just... I don't want to be alone, and then starts yelling, yeah, now the typewriter's working on his own! All work and no play makes, Mr. Finchley a dull boy. Get out of here, Finchley! Oh my god, yeah, run, they're talking to you.
Get out of here, Finchley.
The machines want to live in peace.
Out of here.
Is that the typewriter from the previous episode with Gregory?
An inanimate, senseless machine.
It just keeps going, it just keeps going. Oh, that's such a cool shot. Oh! Now the TV's saying it at you. Time to go, buddy. Burn the house down. Yeah, the machines are coming to life. And that is something that's struggling with his whole life, I think, is interesting. Because I was like, is there some, like, event or something that happened that triggered this? But if it's been happening his whole life, assuming he hasn't lived in the same house with the same, like, electronics.
Why don't you get out of here, Finchley?
Time to go. Looks him dead in the eyes through the screen. Time to go, buddy. The machines want to take over.
Of course. All right, I'll call you again, my dear.
He's calling up people I'm sure he was incredibly rude to, and now hoping that they'll suddenly hang out with him because he has nobody. And, like, it's, you know, this take on this modern age with all these new, you know, electronics and all these new things, and you can't live without them. Like, he can't not have a phone or TV, or is the lamp moving on its own as well? And, like, a typewriter, like, these are things that he needs, so how's he gonna get through this?
I'll send you a wedding present. Of course. Good night.
You can't expect people to be excited to hear from you if you only call them out of the blue after you treat them like garbage.
Just like the rest. Exactly like all the rest.
But he's like, oh, I'll blame the phone. Yeah, it can't be me. It must be them. Is that... what is on the walls? What is happening? Oh, I wish this was in color, but I'm also terrified. Is that wallpaper? What's on the tub? I have a lot of questions. Oh, that razor. I'd be careful, sir. Oh, God. If the car drove you. Yeah, I'm worried. Oh, God. Oh, it's floating on its own. Oh, get out of there. Oh.
Get out of here, Finchley.
Why don't you get out of here, Finchley?
Get out of here, Finchley. Get out of here, Finchley.
Yeah, the machines are definitely coming to life. It's unplugged, ripped out of the wall.
Idiots.
What an unhappy, mean little man. It's like, thank God I can get drunk without the use of machines. Well, 4 nights of not sleeping, an entire bottle of whatever that was. Yep, that'll do it. He's like, and how is that making noise exactly? Yeah. It's such cool, like, practical effects, like the little things like the razor and the typewriter on its own. So cool.
Get out of here, Finchley. Why don't you get out?
I don't know where he's gonna go, but I also don't think he can stay. Like, at this point, yeah, they're not giving up.
Get out of here, Finchley. Get out.
I won't.
Oh, you're gonna have to call the repairman again. Oh my god. Or just don't have a TV. Maybe it's not for you. You know, read a book. Oh my god, coming after you down the stairs. That's so creepy. Oh my gosh, panic, sheer panic. My razor is chasing me down the stairs. You're gonna have to walk wherever you want to go, bud. Yeah, don't get in that car. Could you imagine just seeing your car backing itself up, like, with no one in it, then trying to run you down? Oh my god. I'm very curious how they did that shot. Oh my gosh, yeah, it is Christine. It's coming after you. Cheese and rice. Oh, and the car POV, that's a cool shot. Yeah, he's like, where do I go? Just to turn around and come right back. Run somewhere where the car can't go. Oh, he's gonna go in the pool. Let's hope he can swim. Oh, God. Oh, because the car can't. Oh, my God. Oh. Oh. Maybe he can't swim. Oh, no. Did the car go in the water? Oh, that's cool. Oh, no. Bye.
Pull the body out?
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
Usually.
Well, he was on the bottom. He hadn't come up. He wasn't weighted either. There was nothing to hold him down.
Huh.
Because the car had moved by then. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, the car just ran him right into the pool. Oh my gosh. This is grim.
Maybe.
Could be he had a heart attack or something.
Could be. Could just be.
They're never gonna believe that a car is what chased it down on its own and pushed him into the pool. Oh my gosh. Well, bye.
Set of delusions. It could just be that he was tormented by an imagination as sharp as his wit and as pointed as his dislikes.
And that the car looks like a face as well. So that was my first time watching The Twilight Zone Season 2, Episode 4. I liked this episode. I do feel like it was a little predictable that the machines were going to come to life, but I still enjoy it. I still thought it was a decent episode. This Bartlett Finchley character was a good villain. I felt bad for him at some points, but then I also didn't, because he was just doing this to himself. You know, when he calls everybody, basically like asking them if they want to go to dinner, and everybody shoots him down because I'm sure he's treated them horrible. We saw him do that with the secretary as well, where he's just berating her and then asks her to stay and then is mean to her again. And you could tell he was definitely like a lonely character, but also wasn't making it any easier on himself, was just treating people badly, and then was surprised when no one was around. And to find out that the machines have been like this his whole life, I could only imagine how stressful that would be, how you would feel, like, you know, how many TV sets you would have bought, how many radios you would have bought, like all of these different ways you would have thought, oh, like it just has a malfunction, like how we have the TV repairman at the start as well, and he's like, why can't you fix this, basically, like what's wrong with you, why aren't you good at this? And obviously the fact that he's been throwing things off stairs and smashing them hasn't helped. But yeah, there was definitely some creepy moments in this episode, but again, I feel like it was pretty obvious that we knew the machines were going to come to life. Even in the previous episode when Rod Serling says, the machines are monsters, I thought, well, usually there's only a few ways we can go with this if the machines are going to be the villains, although I feel like Bartlett was also the villain. And I do think something that could have added to this story is maybe find out why the machines hated him. Like I said, that's why I thought maybe there was like a kind of a turning point. Something happened in his life where the machines decided to come against him, because again, I'm assuming he hasn't lived in this house his whole life. Maybe he has, but the fact that they were like possessive and wanted him to get out made me definitely think like this is their space, not his. And, they want him to leave, as we have that very, shining moment with the typewriter saying, get out, Finchley. And Christine, Stephen King, that's what that reminded me of, with the car chasing him down at the end and pushing him into the pool and obviously pinning him at the bottom of the pool. And, we hear the coroner talking at the end being like, usually, these bodies float, but not this one. And they couldn't, figure out what would have caused him to stay down like that. And then, just the water dripping off the car. So some really cool practical effects in this episode as well, like the typewriter on its own and the razor moving and the car driving. I'm very curious how they did that, because the nighttime setting obviously helped, because maybe you could have had someone wear darker colors and be behind the wheel, but it's still the way that they edited it, in my opinion, it was decently done. I'm sure if you look really hard, you can probably see somebody there, but it looked really convincing in my opinion, and more terrifying than anything, because he's just being chased and he's running around. He's like, oh, he thinks he's safe, just the fact that he goes into a pool, because obviously the car won't, but he's wrong. Of course, the car chases him into the pool and follows him down. And at first I thought, oh, maybe he just can't swim and he's just going to drown on his own. And that's the car's, evil plan, is to just watch him as he drowns, basically. But no, just fully pushes him to the bottom of the pool to make sure that he doesn't live. But yeah, it's very interesting. And then even Rod Serling bringing up, like, is it paranoia? Did he just kind of imagine all of these things? Were they actually just like mechanical glitches that just kept happening, or were they really coming to life and calling his name like we saw on the TV? And even having the Rod Serling, appear on frame on the TV, I thought was a nice nod to that as well. I thought that was cool. For his on-camera voiceover, I thought that was cool. So yeah, definitely had some cool pieces to this episode. And like I said, super creepy with all the machines coming after him, especially all at once with the clock and the TV and the typewriter and the razor and like all of these things, adding up. You could just feel how panicked this character was, and a great performance by the actor who played Finchley. You could see just how self-righteous and entitled he thought he was, and how much better he thought he was, and this just air of arrogance about him. And then he switches to like this vulnerability, like, please don't go, and then switches back to being arrogant. And you could tell, he's just hasn't slept, he ends up drinking this whole bottle, and like that probably only fuels things. And, of course, being chased around by this car would be terrifying. And, the emergency brake isn't working, even though he says he put it down, and it drives itself into the garage. And to me, that was kind of the best moments of the episodes, when the machines were coming to life. But I wasn't expecting them to kill him at the end. I thought maybe he would run away. I don't know where he was going to go. I didn't feel like the story would end with him moving to a new house or getting a new location. I felt like this would just continue on and on. So I thought maybe we would do that, have a shot of him in a new apartment or something like that, and he turns on the TV and it's the same, get out, Finchley, like just kind of leaving it on that loop that he's never going to escape it. But it was a much darker ending with him dying in the pool, and we've seen Twilight Zone characters be killed off before. And I think it's interesting, given the time that this would have come out in the 60s, technology would have been changing, machines would have been evolving, advancements have been made. So maybe this was, it said it was written by Rod Serling. Maybe this was his way of coping with, all the sudden influx of new technology and feeling overwhelmed. And even Finchley saying like he doesn't know how to, he's not going to be intimidated by these things. Like he doesn't really know how to work them maybe, or he just thinks that they're out to get him. And maybe that was, a popular sentiment at the time, that these machines had taken over people's lives, and if they only knew what the next 60 years were going to bring in technology. But I could see how people would be cautious and not wanting to have some of these things in their house, but also you kind of need them. Finchley was a writer, so he needed to have someone, typing and using a typewriter and a phone, and like a car. Obviously he's not going to have a horse and carriage anymore. Like advancements are being made, so maybe it was just more to speak to that at the time, that all these things were changing all at once and how scary that could be. And if machines came to life, you know, that's still a present day theme, you know, with AI. Like, what happens if these things come to life and start thinking on their own and doing things on their own? I don't know what the response was when this came on in the 60s, obviously, but that's kind of my approach to it, is that maybe people were concerned with the amount of, you know, technology that was coming into their home that wasn't there, you know, 40 or 50 years earlier. Overall, I enjoyed it. Like I said, I do feel like some parts were a bit predictable, but I like the practical effects. I thought, you know, Finchley, the performance was great. He was a good villain, and yeah, to see all these pieces come to life. We know the next episode, they just had this shot of this door and this hallway, and they called it this howling. So yeah, I'm very curious to see where that's gonna go. There's something let it out. I don't know what it is, but something locked in this room. So yeah, really enjoying this series so far. So thank you so much for sharing in this first time watching with me. If you have any other suggestions for TV shows you think I should watch, please comment below. And as always, please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel, and check back often for more awesome content. A fancy car indeed. It feels like Cruella de Vil's gonna step out of this. Yeah, is the TV acting up because he's messing with it? It's interesting how like people would be struggling with like the change and, you know, the addition of new machines. But he's like, oh, I'll blame the phone. Yeah, it can't be me. It must be them. 4 nights of not sleeping, an entire bottle of whatever that was. Yep, that'll do it.